Do you know the names of the people who live next door to you?
Actually, I don't.
She's new.
Yeah, like 3 years ago moved in?
No, maybe 10.
10 years ago. Yeah. Oh, boy. You have no idea
I don't talk to my neighbors.
You think it's safe out in Long Island?
It's very safe.
Quiet?
Yes.
Peaceful?
Yes.
Serial killers?
Not that I know of.
Let's say you heard a chainsaw in the middle of the night. What would you do?
I'd be questioning why it's going on in the middle of the night just because
And then you go back to bed.
But yes, yes.
We went out to Long Island and we sort of moved in to see what the neighborhood is like.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So take a look.
Did you ever notice when they arrest a serial killer, the neighbors come out and say what a nice, quiet guy he was?
A very gentle guy, the kind of a guy that would help me bring packages into the house.
John Wayne Gacy murdered 33 young men while living in a quiet suburban Chicago neighborhood.
So what kind of neighbor was he?
Very good neighbor.
Jeffrey Dahmer kept body parts in a drum in his tiny Milwaukee apartment with no complaints from the neighbors. John Esposito used a backhoe to dig a torture chamber beside the Long Island house where he held 10-year-old Katie Beers captive.
Nice, gentle, caring. Funny, just a simple guy.
In a house surrounded by neighbors, John Wayne Gacy often began his grisly work well after dark.
Did you ever hear anything that would indicate to you that there was foul play going on over there?
No, other than maybe doing some construction work at night, outside, a little loudness that way, sawing and things like that, but I attribute that to his work.
How do they get away with it? Why don't the neighbors ever notice? What does a maniac have to do to tip people off? To find out, TV Nation rented a 3-bedroom house on a quiet, tree-lined street. We hired an actor and moved him in. We supplied our actor with the props he'd need to impersonate a typical serial killer. Drills, bomb-making equipment, axes, toys, and women's clothes in various sizes.
I remember you.
As the days passed, we watched and waited. In broad daylight, our actor walked among the neighbors with the tools of his trade. No one noticed. Next, we played a tape of gunshot sounds. No reaction. We dug our first hole in the lawn that night by flashlight. Just like the evenings that followed, no neighbor complained. We worked with our tools through the night. No visits from the police. We had large metal drums delivered. Jeffrey Dahmer only brought one 55-gallon drum to his home. We brought home 10. No one noticed. We hired a backhoe to help with our digging. Just like when John Esposito used a backhoe to dig his dungeon, no one said a thing. Only the dog noticed something was wrong, but no one heard his cries for help. We splattered our front window with red paint. Reaction? Nothing. The next day was garbage day. We put a little of the same red color on an old mattress. What does it take to get some attention around here anyway? An eccentric loner playing nursery rhymes outside his home seems pretty creepy. But it didn't seem to bother any of the neighbors. What would happen if we changed our address to 666, the biblical number of the devil? No problem with the neighbors. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all seemed to be the local motto. Or maybe it was, if you can't stop in, smile as you pass by. Whatever, no one stopped in, no one said anything. With the evidence of a demented mind still in plain sight, we went to see just what the community thought of its newest neighbor. The first person we spoke to lived directly across the street.
Do you know the people across the street?
It's something there. It's something funny about it. They just bought the house, and we looking strange things in there. Good garage, you know, like half paint at night. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and you see the red light. You know, you should come at night. Then you see what's funny thing there.
He didn't do that digging himself. There was an actual backhoe.
Oh, really?
And many years ago, we all had cesspools and we all got hooked up. Maybe that house was never hooked up, and maybe that's what's being done now.
No one's notified the authorities?
What's to notify? If the man owns the property, he can, you know...
Paint it whatever color.
We don't know if that's a base paint for something else or why anybody would paint half a door red.
Yeah.
Put red on the picture window. We're not quite certain what that's all about.
Over 5 days, we played 30 gunshots, stacked and restacked 55-gallon drums, constantly dug holes, and splattered mattresses, windows, and doors with red fluid. No one cared. No one phoned to complain. No one stopped by to ask about the noise. Heck, no one even said hello.
We don't coffee clutch, but we do occasionally go to each other's homes.
If you could change anything about this neighborhood, you know, what would you, anything you would...
Nah, I'd keep it just like this.
Just like this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame you.
You like it?
This place is great.
It really is great. Especially if you're a serial killer who wants to be left alone. And if you're ever caught here, you can be sure that the neighbors will tell all the reporters what a nice person you were. So quiet, so polite, so normal.